Concrete.
Happy, friendly.
A very good place to live.
An architectural disaster.
Vibrant. Cultural.
My home. My workplace.
Alienating.
But I love it.
Pretty.
Not pretty.
Lively.
Glossy.
I think it has largesse.
Hey, I'm Angelique, and I'm here to do a project on the Brunswick Centre.
Hi, my name's Kayla. Hello?
Hey, is this Kayla? Yes, who's this?
It's Angelique from school.
Oh, hi, Angelique.
Hey, listen, have you finished your location project?
I haven't started mine at all.
What do you mean you haven't started it?
I haven't started.
Oh my god.
Listen, do you think you can help me?
Because I'm doing it on the Brunswick.
Yes.
I mean, I've lived here my whole life, so I know some really interesting facts, and I know some people.
I wouldn't mind being interviewed.
No, it's great. Listen, what time should I meet you?
3 o'clock at the Brunswick. Okay, look, I have to go. It's lunchtime. Bye.
Bye. Oh crap, I forgot to ask what her door number is.
Hello, I'm Rebecca. The Brunswick is a centre made of 2 large buildings, the Foundling Court and the O'Donnell Court. It is located in Bloomsbury beside Russell Square Tube Station. Designed in the 1950s, the building was later built in the 1970s. Many people had their opinions, both bad and good, on the Brunswick's architecture.
I need to ask a favour.
Yeah?
You know Angelique from school?
Yeah?
She's doing her locations project on the Brunswick, and I was wondering, considering we both live here, maybe we could help her?
Yeah, sure.
Well, she's going to be here in a few minutes, so
Okay.
should we go over some of the questions she's going to ask us?
Yeah.
Right then, so what are your hobbies?
Sleeping, drawing, writing, designing, eating, yeah.
What do you hope to do in the future?
I want to go to university and get a job as an interior designer.
Sounds really cool. Name 3 things that you like about the Brunswick and 3 things that you dislike.
I like the vibe, the people, and the shops.
Okay.
And I don't like the noise, and that's about it.
You really like everything, nearly. Do you think there's a strong community here in the Brunswick?
Yeah, much more than it was before. I get along with my neighbours, and I know them quite well.
Okay then. Do you think it's a safe area to live?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And last question, describe the Brunswick in 3 words.
Friendly, interesting, and nice.
That's really cool. I just got a text. It's from Angelique. She says she's stuck in the car park and she thinks someone's following her. Come on, let's go help her.
Okay.
If I see anything I shouldn't, I do something about it. We have a care line buzzer here. Anyone can press it and get help. But people don't. They're scared to do it. And that's why I keep an eye out all the time.
The block when I first came to work on it there were no main entry doors. You could just walk in off the street. We had lots of problems with drug users and rough sleepers. So most mornings we'd be cleaning up urine and faeces around the entrances. It wasn't pleasant. The rough sleepers sort of got moved on and taken into sheltered accommodation and hostels, and then it was replaced by really serious drug users like heroin and crack, and associated with that the vice trade. So it was a really difficult time, and all of my staff, including myself, have been assaulted by people that we were trying to move on. And then we got security doors, cameras, the state basically got upgraded. Lots of improvements were done, and then the shopping centre being refurbished made a huge difference. Because it now looks like a really well looked after estate shopping centre, a lot of people about, so people who want to do drugs or other activity go off somewhere else. It has improved dramatically. We used to have robberies quite a lot as well, and distraction burglaries were People would con their way into old people's flats, rob them. That has practically disappeared.
Hi, I'm Ruby. So it's night time and no one's not here. If someone's alone by dawn, then they might get scared. This place is very scary. What's that?
I'll text you.
Oh my god, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine now. Where the hell were you?
I was getting changed.
What?
Hello, my outfit was like 10 minutes ago, duh.
Oh my god, seriously?
Yeah, seriously. Anyway, Rebecca, Angelique, Rebecca. Rebecca's my neighbour. She wants to help out with your project.
Oh, that's good, thank God.
So what do you need help on?
You know what?
Why don't we just get out of here? This place is really creepy, and then you guys can talk about it, okay?
Okay.
Let's go.
Brunswick Centre started being built in 1967 and was completed in 1972.
The architect of the Brunswick is Patrick Hodgkinson.
There used to be 2 bridges connecting Foundling Court and O'Donnell Court.
I really like it. I mean, I knew it before it was redeveloped and I didn't really come here very much.
It's changed a lot from what it used to be. It's like more touristy, as where before it was more of a community.
Oh my gosh, I would live here if I were living in London because it's just amazing and there's nothing like this in New York.
I sort of live that way and work that way, so I come here quite a lot, for coffee and stuff.
It's nice, yeah, I think that building's actually nice. It's better now they've painted it white because it used to be really grey looking.
It used to be really grim when I was a student. I had one little pizza place that was a bit scary, and it's always had the cinema, which I've always gone to because it has quite good films that you don't see in big cinemas.
It's a nice place to work. The architecture is amazing. I think it's very special. And I like the people who live there. The name of the Renoir cinema was influenced by Jean Renoir, who was a French filmmaker. He's dead now, but he's one of the pioneers of French cinema. He made loads of films and he won an Oscar, I think, for his film called The Rules of the Game.
Nice to meet you, Sarah. I'm just going to ask you a few questions about your job here in the Renoir and what you think of the Brunswick Centre, okay?
Sure.
Do they ever show any of your favourite films here in the Renoir?
A few. I'm a bit more mainstream in taste than what we show here. It's real pure art house and foreign films, but you know, they're fantastic films to watch. But every now and then, yeah, there's some special ones. There's actually a Tom Hanks film coming up, Toy Story 3, which is a miracle that it's being shown here. So I'm quite excited about that one.
Okay, so do you think there is a strong community here in the Brunswick?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't live here, so it's a bit different, but I certainly get the impression we do these things like these kids clubs and stuff like that now, and there's lots of locals who come, and we also have people who hire it out, like the Socialist Film Co-op, and I know a lot of them are local residents and things like that, so cinema can be a place that has a good standing in local community, I hope. I like the Brunswick Centre. I feel quite excited when I see the canopy outside. It's transformed apparently in the last kind of 5 years or so, and I hear the stories of what it was like before. I remember telling my mum that I was working in the Brunswick Centre and she was scared for me and horrified, but then turns out it's a lovely place, wonderful cultural, lovely shops, lovely restaurants, things like that.
What kind of stories do you hear about the Brunswick?
Well, just that it was a bit run down. And that it's just been really jazzed up and it's become this really nice hub for people to come and gather.
Hi, my name is Esther. I'm so glad you're here. I've been so bored.
Yeah, me too. Well, what could we do? Should we go to the library?
No, library's boring. Why can't we have a chat? We haven't seen each other for ages now.
Yeah, that's true. How long have you been living at the Brunswick?
I've been living at the Brunswick basically all my life.
Wow, that's amazing. I wish I could live there too.
So, what do you think about the Brunswick?
It's
it's amazing. I mean, it's really nice. But when I first saw the building, I thought maybe the famous people live here. And I was wishing, I wish I could go inside and see the building. Is it safe? Do you feel safe living here?
I feel very safe living in the Brunswick, yeah, very.
Is there a strong community?
Yeah, a very strong community, because every time I see people, even people I don't know, they say hello to me and they say hi and they smile.
Would you like to move somewhere else if you have a choice?
No, I would love to stay here. You said you wanted to explore, so why don't we go and explore the Brunswick?
Yeah.
The Brunswick. It's a really strange place. I think of it in so many different ways. When I look at it, sometimes it looks like a ship, which has sort of sailed into the middle of London and got sort of landed, stranded in this little block. Some of the lines that it makes are rather reflect the lines of a ship. And sometimes when I walk out of that door and look along the corridors, it looks like a cathedral, because it's got those sort of, the arches look like what they call on cathedrals flying buttresses, and it's exactly the same shape to support the structure. But it's sort of very concrete and very modern. So in summer it can look like a Mediterranean town with the sun sparkling on the nice white paint, and in winter it can look like a prison because it's all grey and cement and the wind and mist are blowing down it. So it's quite a strange place, really. And I think it's very interesting because it's a strange place. And apparently when they first built it, it was built as an experiment, and they would have built lots more of these throughout Camden had this been successful. And I'm quite glad they didn't. I think one is interesting, 2 or 3 would be too many, because it is concrete, and concrete is a fairly hard and brutal sort of material to make things out of to become really friendly in.
It used to be very boring and dull, and you didn't really want to play in the Brunswick Centre, but now it's gone all new and it's nicer, and like there's more people playing out on some days, and it's just changed much more better.
It was a bit dirtier, a bit grimier, not so many nice sort of shop fronts. I suppose the biggest difference is that it used to be a Summerfield supermarket, which was taken over by Morrison's, and then they put a Waitrose in. So it's obviously, it's gone a lot posher. They want more money into the centre.
Well, certainly the shopping centre has changed beyond recognition. I don't think much else has changed as far as the flats go. There's lots more greenery around now, because it was quite barren when we came. But there's no sort of major changes apart from the shopping centre.
Hi, Becca. What are you doing here?
Oh, I'm doing a project on the Brunswick Centre. You know the location project?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Kayla and Rebecca are going to help me. Rebecca, this is Ruby.
Oh, hi, nice to meet you.
Ruby's in my class.
So, can we help her as well, because she's from the Brunswick as well?
Okay,
Hi,
cool.
nice to meet you, mister.
Angelique. Shall we go?
Yeah, sure. We're on our way somewhere, so you guys can come with us.
Is this way, right?
Yeah, that way.
Okay.
Come on.
Let's go.
I think the ferry breakers live very high up.
Well, I have to be very rich, I think, to live here. But because I rent a flat round the corner. But it would be lovely to live here.
Oh, it's lovely. It's lovely view. I like it. I'd love to live in these buildings and everything.
Because I live next to stairs, you can like smell like them smoking and things like that. It's nasty. You can hear them talking, and living next to the pub. Yeah, all you do is hear screaming and stuff, like it's so annoying.
When everyone's coming out of the restaurants, I don't think people understand that it's actually people do live here. So their voice levels, and when they're all coming out there, they've got a bit of drink inside them, it's like really loud, especially at like 12 o'clock at night when you've got work the next morning.
Don't really like how it's kind of noisy at night because of all the teenagers, and how early on a Saturday morning you have bands or singers coming out to play when they don't think about the residents.
Before, when it was like more communal, I was only younger, so the noise really didn't affect me as much as where to now that I have to get up for work in the morning. So the noise level does affect me, as where before it didn't affect me. It might have affected my mum.
It must be expensive. I mean, I'm sure it's really expensive to live here, but yeah, it's really good probably. They just have to walk and they're in the center of the city. So.
I'm not using the earplugs to go to sleep. They need to turn their noise down.
I think that Patrick Hodgkinson was a very good architect, and his idea for the architecture was just really, really good.
What do you think about the inside and the outside? Do you have like any compare? Or...
I mean, I love how the outside looks now compared to what it was a few years ago, but the inside just hasn't changed that much.
Right at the far end is a brick building, which is the home of the Territorial Army. And this building was originally going to go another block. So that building that's there would have been demolished, and the building would have carried on for about another 100 metres. And this was in the 1970s. And I'm told the reason that they couldn't demolish that building was because there's a big gun in the basement. And this was at the time of the Cold War, when America and Russia were sort of, just about to sort of kill each other with nuclear missiles. And so this was part of our sort of protection to central London.
It was the first housing scheme, big one, in this country, in England, to achieve the maximum density, the number of people per acre living on the site. And it did this, it was the first one that actually did it in buildings that were only 5-storey tall. Previously, architects mostly had advised that to build above that, to build the same density, you had to use tall buildings, really tall.
There was a big battle to not have this built because the university owned the property, the houses, and they wanted to keep the square, and they didn't want this built. But it came about, and the basic thing about it is that the interesting story is that while you see it all well painted on the outside, inside it's fallen to bits.
We couldn't use brickwork on this building because of difficulties with the structure of brickwork and accidents that had happened in tall buildings recently. So we swapped everything and did it in concrete instead, provided the concrete could be painted. I never liked bare concrete myself, because in London it gets so damn filthy and you can't paint, you can't clean it. All you can do is to paint over it. But at least we've finally now done that.
Well, actually, when I first saw it, I thought, why on earth did they build a concrete jungle when there was such nice architecture here before? But now when I look at it, I kind of have a sort of quite sweet and sour relationship, love-hate relationship to it. I like some of it, and I think some of it is a bit of a shame.
I'm standing outside the Brunswick Centre, and as you can see, there are loads of different tokens around me. These tokens represent a sad story about the Foundling Hospital. The story is that when a mother could not afford to take care of her child, she would give the child over to the hospital, and she would give her child a special token. That way, when she was able to pick up her child, she would know which one is hers. Sad thing is that loads of children, their parents could not afford to get them back, so loads of children did have to stay at the hospital. But good thing is that some of the children did get reunited with their parents.
I dislike the fact that this space we're sitting on isn't properly used, and I dislike some of the inbuilt prejudices that people have about the building. People use the phrase concrete jungle quite a lot because it's a concrete building, and that carries with it certain connotations or baggage. People think that concrete jungle means a bad place where there's bad things happening, and so they use that as a sort of as an excuse not to get things done properly.
I love the building, although I didn't used to when I first saw it, but I've grown to love it because I like the architecture. I like the idea it's all concrete and glass. I love the fact it's so soundproof because it's a concrete building. You don't hear your neighbours, and I absolutely adore the location. Couldn't be better.
This building, I think, is a great example of post-war building in central London. I love its location. I mean, that was one of the reasons that we moved here, was because it's central London, and as I work in central London, I wanted to cut down on the amount of travelling that I did.
The building gives back about 70% of the site area as open space, either public or private balconies. Now that's a lot of space. It's like having a park, but dividing it all up into little spaces. And so that's another achievement that I think is very important. And you may think, well, that's rubbish. Who wants to see a film with things like that mentioned? Well, I don't agree. It's terribly important. And the reason I think that is this is what the residents often tell me, the sort of things they care about. And they're the ones, in my view, that really matter.
I like having a balcony, but I don't want a big garden, so that suits me. And the flats are nice inside. We have sheds, so I've got somewhere to keep my bicycle safe. So there's a whole series of things that are good about it, sort of attracted to me here in the first place.
It looks at many things that other architects often don't look at all, and tries to encompass them all together. So that if you look at some tiny detail, you might say, but if you look at the whole lot together, that's a different matter.
I look after about 1,000 properties around here, and I think the Brunswick has got the most active and organised community, mainly led by the Tenants and Residents Association. There are people who give up their time voluntarily, and I think they've got an awful lot done here by working constructively with the council, whereas other people tend to approach it individually, and maybe they just go the wrong way about it, where I think here people are quite constructive.
I don't think everybody knows everybody, but there again, there's plenty of friendly people.
There's a pretty good community, although if I go knocking on somebody's door saying, have you seen your next door neighbour, sometimes I just say, I don't even know who lives next door. So there's two sides to that story.
Well, they're quite a good community. Everybody seems to be, talking to each other. There's a carnival here on the 4th of September, and everybody comes in and so. I mean, most of the shops and around they're quite good. I mean, we could do with some bigger names in Muchmer Street, a bit better, but everybody does talk to each other, and they're good community.
The woman in 2 doors away, she's like, she keeps her eye on, this is what she calls her corner, because her family used to live here, and she feels proprietorial about this corner of the building, so she keeps her eye on it for us. So, yeah, I know them. Don't really know many other people, really. It's difficult to bump into them here.
Yeah, I think the building has a good sense of community. I've got to know quite a lot of people here, and I know my neighbours and various people in the block. So, yeah, I think overall it works well.
We're going to have a site that if anything's broken, you can go on there to make sure somebody hasn't reported it before you. And we're just going to be more community spirited, but we haven't been up to now. We've been rubbish.
Do you know your neighbours?
Well, sometimes some neighbours. I mean, some neighbours just don't really like talking to young kids. So, but I do know some of my neighbours, and I do say hi occasionally to people when they walk past.
Often when I walk in here, the corridors and the stairwells are completely empty. There's one family that I know over the other side, a Ghanaian family. That's probably the only people I actually know who live in the whole place. And of course, the time I've met most people who live here are at the Residents Association's meetings, when we're all complaining bitterly about the damp problem.
The centre itself has quite a few leaks and damp problems, and it's always had those sort of internal structural problems. So we work quite hard to try and sort those out.
I go to tenants meetings elsewhere, and it's half a dozen people. Sometimes the room downstairs is full.
Sometimes it's quite a slow process to get things moving. Like I say, there have been a lot of water problems, so we're trying to make sure the plastering is done as soon as the external kind of engineering problems are sorted out. We're also trying to help get a singing group up and running, because some of the residents are keen to get that together.
It's a really good tenants and resident association. And the people who are on the committee are really nice people. They don't, sometimes if you just shout at people, they're not going to help you. They know how to get the best out of Camden housing officials.
Definitely the upkeep of the building inside, I want that to be better. The leaks. I didn't have leaks in this flat till they did the building works, and now I have leaks. So yeah, I like them to be, I would like the people to look after the building better. And I like the windows cleaned. Once in a blue moon would be nice.
One day we noticed that the wallpaper was peeling, and then it peeled a bit more, and then it fell off, and then underneath was a mushroom growing on the wall, and then we realised that this was quite serious, so we tried to get in touch with the people we rented the space from, which was Camden Council, and then there was a long argument about whether it was the responsibility of Camden Council or the people who actually owned the building. By this time, all the wallpaper was off and the carpets were damp in one room, and we went to a couple of residents' meetings, we tried to get a decision, and they sent some engineers around, and the engineers with hard hats came in, took photographs and went away again. And then another month later they came back again, they made a hole in the wall, and you could actually see the water dripping sort of from top to bottom of the hole in the wall, which was quite interesting for us. But by that time the second room of 3 rooms in the office was flooded. And then we had to get a lawyer, quite a sort of big city lawyer, to make a major complaint to Camden Council, who then actually moved us to this office here. And I think the scandal of this is that, as far as I know, that office is still empty and has not been repaired. Certainly it was when I went over there about a month ago. So that's why we moved, because it was a problem. But this was not only our problem. There must have been another 10, maybe 20 offices and apartments over there that had damp carpets, and people were having to live in really quite unhealthy conditions. We could come in 9 o'clock in the morning, go home 6 o'clock in the evening. We go home to dry homes, but they were having to live in damp homes, and no one was doing anything about it for them. I don't know how it's panned out now, but for a long time they were living in quite unhealthy environments.
There's still a lot of work to do inside to make sure we don't have the recurring problems that we do have within flats, and I think there's more that can be done to improve the look of the corridors.
It still looks like some prison from the 1950s or something, whereas when you go along further and they've painted the walls, it looks great. So I don't like the fact that we don't keep it in very good order.
People have got to be taken a bit more seriously. If you want to be in this community, if the community wants to function, then decorate the place nicely. Have more things which are not just to get more people into the shops, but for the people here. We've got a lovely terrace outside here, and I've never seen anything happen on that terrace except young people making a film.
I've been here 10 years, and it's a great place to live.
It's not like a very posh block of flats where you would perhaps only get a certain type of people. No, it's a good mix of people. I love the way the building looks now that it's been painted. I'm very fond of it.
I made lots of good friends on the Brunswick. I've got some really good friends that I socialise with.
What's good about it now that we've done the remedial work and the structural work which had to be done, is that we've added at least 100 or 150 years to the life of the building. So I'll never outsee it, and nor will my children, but maybe my grandchildren will. Now that's the sort of thing I'm really interested in, because after all, most of Georgian Bloomsbury is well over 200 years old, and it's still fine. It'll go on for another 100 years. So I hope very much that this building will.
Oh my god, guys. Thank you so much, but I'm so tired now.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. What was everyone's favourite bits? Esther?
Mine was when we got to interview Patrick Hutchinson.
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was kind.
Lovely Kayla.
That we all became really good friends, and all the interesting stories that the people we interviewed had.
Rebecca?
Well, I've learnt so much this week, more than I have done through all the time I've been living here.
Ruby?
Well, I found out a lot of fact and interesting stories about the Brunswick Centre, which I didn't know about.
Mine was probably that I got to meet you all. Mine is Ruby, because I already know her. What should we do now?
I know what we can do. Why don't we just make a film about this?
Hands in.